I hope everyone is here and you can hear me. Then let's get started. So what is pricing and why is it important? Good. So the basic definition of pricing is that it's kind of decided amount required as a payment. So you're offering something and you get a certain amount of money for that. So far so clear, but the difficult thing is always to figure out how high the amount should be for the pricing in the end. Good. Now, where do we have pricing in AIESEC? Yeah, we have like our exchange product. So this is the main reason why you are here today for sponsoring business development. So if you have some special contract with companies, you have conference fees for your delegates, and charging companies for AIESEC, which is also one of our exchange programs. Good. Yeah, taking care of pricing, you need to involve several information, not only one. Not just say, okay, approximately this price might be useful or good, or we need to consider several parts. So first of all, how much costs you normally have when you're running the exchange programs, or the direct costs you have, if you have direct costs there, and the indirect costs. So direct costs are also mainly your marketing costs. So for OEGB, for example, you run marketing on Facebook, this costs money partly, and therefore you get a little bit, therefore you need to pay marketing costs. Then your price should be reasonable, especially in your reality and in your country, and must be low enough to make it attractive to your customers. On the other hand, your price must be high enough to sustain your entire product. So your product itself must be sustainable, and your entire organization, your entire entity must be sustainable, otherwise it's useless. Good. Yeah, the GFP has some pricing tools available, which were released now actually 2 weeks ago. We have a GFP tool and a sustainability analysis tool for you, and a GFP pricing report where you can find the entire methodology and how you are using these tools. Good. So we have the GP pricing tool, which you have hopefully already opened. If not, please go into the link I shared there. The password is Finance Evolution, and then you can simply find it, and then you can go and open it. Do you have it open? Or do you have problems downloading it? Please write something in the chat. I know that you're here. Already downloaded. That's the others. Yep. And then Duyen. Duyen, where are you from? How do I pronounce your name correctly? Duyen or Dion or Diane? Where are you from? Okay, yeah, so we have the GFP survey from Q3, and according to this data, we were doing the analysis. So, are you MCVP Finances or not? At least the MCVP Finances always filling the survey, and there we have the data from, and we have it globally per exchange program. Yes. You must be aware that this tool is completely based on the economic situation of your country, and there's no direct integration into your cost planning. Therefore, you have to do your cost planning separately. Okay, so first of all, you need to start with your budget and nothing else. So your budget is quite important. Normally, when you have your business model canvas, you create your business model, and based on it, your financial model, you do your cost planning first, because based on that you can have different revenue structures. Good. So cost estimate. So when you're doing that, you are opening your budget, so you can do that directly afterwards, or right now, so you open your budget and you check how much you plan in costs for your term, so for your fiscal year or for your term year, depending on how you plan your budget. And you do the same for all the LCs, and then you're opening the sustainability approximation tool. So you were downloading a raw file, and there's also this tool, so the sustainability approximation tool, and there you can put in the numbers to plan everything according to prices. So then you go into the GFP tool, and then you have several separate prices. I will show you instantly. So in this tool you also have an exchange estimate. So you put your exchange goal for your fiscal year or for your term year into the tool, which means MC plus LC. So you are using this tool completely for your entire organization, because you're estimating the sustainability of your entire entity, not just for MC. So you put in all your current prices and you check the result, if it's sustainable or not. Okay. Afterwards, so I will share my screen with you afterwards, and then you can directly take a look into what I mean. When you have done that, you are checking your GFP pricing tool, where you find your entity, and then you check everything, and you find your country, and then you find adequate prices according to global indicators and neighboring countries. So you can directly check what are your neighboring countries doing, what are the best prices, and you need to adjust all the prices are adjusted to the local purchasing power parity. Okay, good. So I will share my screen with you. Share my screen. Da-dum-da-dum. So can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yes, perfect. Okay, so here you see the sustainability approximation tool, which you have to do first. So this is very important, because it might be that the prices you are seeing in the GFP pricing tool are good, but they're not enough to sustain your product in your entity. And this is what you need to figure out first. So what is the price you need to have in your entity to sustain yourself? And this is what you can do directly here. So you have here you set your prices here. You set the assumptions, and you are planning your exchange goals. So you simply take a look, what are your exchange goals for the entire entity, and all the yellow fields need to be filled in. So maybe you have other revenues too. So here all of the revenues are calculated according to the prices you are setting and the amount of exchanges you're doing, and this gets multiplied, and then you have a calculation. So this is now completely in euros, but we have here Cambodia, so simply delete the euros, and here in the formatting field you can simply check right formatting, get the number format, and then you have it directly in your thing. Then you have your budget inclusive LCs, but without the IGV direct costs. What's important is normally IGV is not for it itself sustainable, and therefore you have the IGV costs separately to see if you are sustainable in total, and if IGV also is sustainable as a product for itself. Good. Then you have done that, and you see that you have here in the optimistic scenario, so let's say in the realistic scenario, you are profitable completely, but your first levels of sustainability of IGV is not sustainable. That means you need to subsidize IGV to run this product, which is not what is happening. If this is currently the case, you need to review your business model in IGV, and you should also charge the enabler for the IGV product. You should not charge should not charge the EP, because otherwise the EP is paying on the EP fee in the home entity and then also in the host entity, so in your entity when you're running IGV. This should not be the case. It should be self-sustainable by a governmental grant, public grant, or the enabler is paying the money, or you're offering you the accommodation for free. And in the end, we have a risk assessment. So you are planning not with the risky numbers, you're planning with the numbers you have, and then you have the scenario, revenue decreased by and the budget increased by. Okay, when you have done that, you are taking a look into the global pricing tool, which you have already heard of, and I guess this is the main reason why you are here. Go! So, you are going to select your entity first, so take a drop-down menu and select your entity. Have you done that? So, for now, open the tool and select your entity. Have you done it? Right, use the check bar. Yes, good. The others, I hope so too. Then, in the first sheet, you find the main information you need to analyze the entity. So I've chosen now Norway. So I'm the GFP chair currently, but last year I was MCVP Finance in Norway. So I've chosen now my former entity. Actually, I'm German, so I'm last year Norway. So you have here just the ISO code. So this is the most important code, because in AIESEC International we have codes for each entity, and the ISO code is also the code of the United Nations. So this is very important. You have a region and your sub-region according to AIESEC and the UN. We have chosen the sub-region according to the United Nations because it is globally comparable. Good. You have an income group according to the economic index. Norway is in the high income group, and the GDP PBP per capita, which is the gross domestic product, which your country is doing, so the economic performance of the country, divided by the population and adjusted by the purchasing power parity. So PPP is that you have €1 in Germany or in Norway, and is less, so you have you have the conversion factor. In Norway it's 1.216, which is extremely high. That means the prices in Norway are relatively expensive. In Cambodia, for example, the prices are quite low. So I can also choose Cambodia, for example. Can't find Cambodia. Okay, a bit strange now, but I am in Cambodia. The prices is a bit lower, and this needs to be adjusted to come to a level 1. And this is when we can compare the prices. Otherwise, the entire pricing analysis would not work. Okay, then you see what the entity is running. So what your entity is running and the prices. So in euro and in the local currency, and then the subjective entity opinion. So in Norway we have an extremely high prices for IGT, for example, and they say it's by far too high. Okay, so we have pricing per stages in euro, and this is just an overview about how the entity is pricing and what is covered normally. So is the company covering accommodation, or is it covering also food for expenses of the intern, etc. Okay, so an option and in IGT, it's very important because you have different options. We have figured out that according to the options, the pricing differs quite heavily among the entities. Also, if you have option 1, you are charging just a one-time fee, and the prices are relatively low. If you're charging option 2, so you have a one-time fee plus a monthly fee, according to how long the intern is staying, the prices in these entities are quite high. In option 3, you have only monthly fee, and in option 4, you have several installments. Okay, in several installments. We have 30 entities who are charging several installments in different stages, and the one-time fees also are quite commonly used, etc. And also one-time fee plus monthly fee. Only a monthly fee has just one entity. And then we have all the OGX products, how high the entity is charging. Good. In the end, you are going into sheet number 3, and there is where the magic happens. So this is the interesting part, and you must be very careful in how you assess your prices, because it's not just okay, you select your entity and then you have the best prices. No. You must be very careful, because you have, here's a euro. Okay, let's go through it. You have here the products which have a pricing which is quite similar in its structure. So you have here the pricing in euro, not adjusted. So not adjusted to the local, to the global purchasing power parity. So this number cannot be used for a global assessment. Then, this is the column you have to compare it with, because here it's adjusted to purchase power parity. This number here is lower than this number, because Norway has a purchasing power parity of higher than 1, so 1.2. Therefore, this is lower. Okay, then you need to compare this column with these 5 columns, with the adjusted global values to purchasing power parity conversion factor of last year, which is the current value. And these are the groups, so you need to assess which of these groups makes sense the most to compare with. So you have, so you set the value, so the rating you set into the different columns, which makes the most sense, and then your best price is calculated. And this assessment needs to be done by yourself. This cannot be optimized, unfortunately. So how do you do that? You see, okay, where do these adjusted prices have the highest similarity? So, and then when you take a look, okay, for example, here we have an OGT 546, and here it's 530, 526, so it seems these two groups are quite similar. Here we have it, okay, the global prices are quite low. Here also, here is even lower, so it seems, it's still, these two columns are better. And here we have, okay, the average to the economic situation is best. And here, in the HDI group, it's actually quite high. So, okay, good. So OGV, we have its, so this is quite high actually, and here the prices are quite similar, and the subregion is not really good to compare with. So let's say the subregion is not very good to compare with, we set it to 0. The regional and average is normally not very good, normally. And you can see here that the prices are quite different to the pricing we have here in Norway. The global average you should always set to 0. And the global average is not very good. It's just for you to see how we are charging globally. It's mainly interesting to see the relations. So globally, the network is pricing the highest in OGT, the second highest in IGE, and then in OGE, and the lowest price is OGV. So just the relation is interesting to see here. But as we could see here, the HDI is, I'm sorry, what is HDI? The HDI is a Human Development Indicator. That means how high is the life standard and the life expectancy and the education level, etc. in the respective country. In Norway, the HDI factor is extremely high. So the HDI is number between 0 and 1. And let's say, okay, HDI, what is the HDI? Is in group number 1. So as I was creating this tool, I said, okay, we need groups. And when you go to grouping, so see here you're grouping in HDI. So HDI is a number from 1 to 0, and 0 is the lowest and 1 is the highest. So you see we have no entities which are in from 1 to 90, but we have some entities which are in group number 1, which are from 90 to 95. So it's actually extremely high. Norway has an extremely high human development indicator. And also the average GDP PVP per capita is very high, because we are also in group number 1. And you see the grouping, so in Norway we have the people are earning from 46,000 to 156,000 adjusted by PVP. Okay, so it means Norway, the HDI group, is the best fit. Therefore we set 55%. This should be okay, let's make a 60 out of it. Okay, we have now here 95%, so you need to come up to 100%. So that means 65, or let's say we have here 40%. So we're 60-40. Good. And then we can take a look into the best price. Okay, so this is the current price in your local PPP. So not adjusted, the not adjusted value. And as you see, the best price for Norway in IGE is higher, is 12% higher. And here it says, this means you should raise your prices. So in IGE, Norway should raise the prices. In OGE, the prices are higher. So this is positive. Here it's 12%, 12% higher. And the other factors, it's also higher. So actually Norway has a good pricing. This is how you can assess your pricing there. Okay, let's go into IGT. So we can do the same here. So let's say 40%, or 60% for HDI. But here you need to do this the same. So as we have seen, it's 60-40 actually. But in IGT, this can differ. In IGT, we have an analysis based on the option and based on the total, based on all entities. Because in the options we have normally around 30 entities which we can compare with, and globally we have more entities to compare with. So 90 entities to compare with, and the rest is not running IGT. Okay, so we have here, let's take a look. Okay, we have option 2. So Norway's option, using option 2. We have a one-time fee of 442, and adjusted is 364. The average is quite, this is quite low actually. That means, okay, this is quite low actually. Globally it's quite high. Okay, so we have here, 600, so we have here price of your monthly servicing fee, etc., and the same goes for the GDP group. So as we can see, so a lot of entities are charging in this group quite high, and Norway could actually charge higher here in here written down. This is kind of how you can compare it with. But as you can see, it makes more sense to compare it in the average among all options. Among all the entities, we have here 332. So, and this is even a bit lower. So actually Norway is quite good in the fit between these two ones. And here you can see, when we compare it with all the options, it's better, and the fit is quite good. So we are quite good here. So maybe we should actually set on the 60% on the GDP per capita group, because here we are pricing companies and not EPs, where we have the difference. Good. And there you see, the pricing is actually really good, and it fits to this economic group. Good. And in the end, I can do the same for IGV. So if you are charging to an organization, for example, so Norway is not doing that, and then you have the same system over there. It is important for you to figure out in what kind of group am I actually. So here you have your groupings that you see in which group you are. So at the HDI group, for example, so Norway is in group number 1 and is compared with these countries: Australia, Canada, Switzerland, and you see all these countries are also in the highest income group. They're in different sub-regions, mainly in Europe, here, a bit of Asia, we have Hong Kong and Singapore, on Asia, and Australia and Oceania, and most of these entities have very high GDP per capita. Just New Zealand is in the lower group, but they have also they're also in the high income group, and it's relatively high and extremely high HDI. So this is how you can see with whom am I actually compared with. And the same we are doing with the GDP group. So we see, take a look, we have less people, and we have even here, United Arab Emirates, they have a lower HDI factor, but they are also in a very high GDP group. Good. And here also in Kuwait, for example, these are entities where we can price high for companies delivering, where we are delivering IGT. Good. This is how you do that. So to sum it up, you figure out what is the best assessment factor, so the best column here, and then make the weighting yourself, and then you can see what is the best price in your entity. So the best price is always considered in euro, but in your purchase power parity. So here we have written reverse adjusting, which means this is the price in your local purchasing power parity. So you can directly take this best price in Europe, type it into Oanda. So here we have Oanda.com, I think. There you can simply drag it into your own currency, and this is your best price according to the economic situation. But do not forget to make a sustainability analysis of the prices. Otherwise, you might end up with a price which is perfect, but that is not keeping you healthy and not sustainable. Yes, that's basically it. And to see and to read all of these things, we have here the pricing report, which you should definitely read to see the methodology and how to do that. So you can read everything what I was talking right now. So here we have what is written in the report, so how we were gathering the information, what the methodology is, the calculation of the best price, and how you can assess it. And especially the pricing assessment for IGT is a bit tricky, so I'll read this again if you didn't understand it for now. And then you have the pricing on each stage, etc., and some global pricing analysis, which are quite interesting to know with. Good. And Katie is already writing. For now, I will open the space for questions. You can also find this document in the file you have just downloaded. So you were downloading a comprised file where you find the 2 Excel files and also this PDF file. There were 3 files in it. Can you find it now? Good. When you have questions, type in your question. Pricing is really something very important, especially in AIESEC, because our profit margins are quite low, and when your pricing is too low, which is normally the case in AIESEC, you really need to ensure that you can make your price higher. Otherwise, you end up unsustainably, and you might face bankruptcy just because the price was a problem, and this should really not happen. So I will stay for the next 3 minutes of awkward silence, and when you have questions, simply type in your question, and I'm here for the next 3 minutes to answer everything. And if not, then thank you for participating, and see you, and hope you have good pricing in your entities. Andreas writing. What could be the perfect discount? Oh, the perfect discount.